Welcome, everyone, to Family Comes First. I'm Vincent J. Russo.
And I'm Victoria Roberts-Strogan. Thank you for joining us today. Many of us face the issue of caring for our parents as they age, and there are so many decisions to be made.
It's truly difficult for children who are caring for their parents to determine what's the best care.
Yeah.
Should it be given at home or in a nursing home?
Yeah. So today we're going to explore how families can make those choices and provide the best care for their parents. Caregiving, a modern dilemma, right here on Family Comes First. We are talking today about caring for our aging loved ones. With us now is Nick Delillo, who is taking care of his mother at home. And Nick has a story to share with us that is both heartbreaking and inspirational at the same time.
Yeah. And also joining us today is Caitlin Janicki, Vice President of the Center for Special Needs Trust Administration. You are near and dear to my heart because you run our Teresa Poole Trust. So welcome, both of you.
Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
We're glad to
Pleasure
have
to be
you
here.
today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you, yeah.
Lots of questions. So
Lots of questions.
let's ask about Mom.
Yeah, let's start with the real life scenario that you're
Okay.
living.
Well, I'll tell you the backstory of it first. When they were married back in 1967, okay, they got into a serious auto accident, my mother and father. They were hit by a drunk driver who was in the country illegally. He was here from Greece. He jumped ship, and he went to the Labor Day tournament that was in Hicksville at that time in the Mid-Island Plaza back then, which is now the Broadway Mall in Hicksville. And he was on the bleachers, and he knocked his wife off the bleachers while she was pregnant to wrestle the keys from her so he could take her car and go into Hicksville and become even more intoxicated than what he was. And at around 8:20 at night, my mother and father and my grandmother, my mother's mother, and my mother's kid sister, she was 14, and my mother was 19, Dad was 27, and Grandma was just turned 50. He hit them at 80 miles an hour. He spun the car around. The car went into a utility pole. The gas tank was ripped from the car. There was an explosion. My mother was thrown from the car. My father went to reach for her. They went to reach for each other. And then my father had a scar on his wrist, on his hand, for all these years. And he says, every time I look at that scar, it would bring back all these memories all over again.
How did it leave your parents?
Now, my mother was split from here to here, and she has been a seizure victim in these years, has a lot of emotional highs and lows from all of this, memory loss, short-term memory loss. My father was thrust underneath the dashboard. They thought he was a bundle of rags when they came on the scene. They said, "Is that a man under there? What is that under there?" They finally realized it was a man. They pried the door open. They got him out. Thank God, as terrible as what he went through and what he suffered, thank God that he went underneath the dashboard and they got him out of there because his leg was pushed up inside, busting all the ribs on the one side.
So you've been a caregiver for your mom all these years?
All these years with Dad and all, yes.
And what is her situation now?
Her situation now is, people have asked me, did you ever think of putting her in an institution? And I says, listen, it's not about putting her in an institution. I says, she is comfortable at home. She's not comfortable in going into something like that at this time. It could come to a point when she's older, I still wouldn't put her in an institution. I would have somebody come to the house to take care of her. But at this moment, she's not going to be tolerant of that right now. And it would just be too overwhelming for her.
Yeah. So
And,
this is a situation where you really, there's a clear answer in your mind that you want to keep her at home.
yes, yes.
And you want to care for her at home.
Absolutely. It's from a religious standpoint, you know. I mean, I know that God is calling me to do this.
Yeah.
As my father felt that always in his youth. I took
and
my...
you've been doing it.
Yes, and we've been doing it. I feel that grace every day to do.
So as you are taking care of your mother, there are many family members taking care of their parents at home. And there's a high cost of care in New York to be able to do that.
Right.
And so one of the ways that many families are able to make this work is through the Medicaid program. But they're not very kind when it comes to keeping your income.
Yeah.
And so there's a concept called a pool trust that allows the Medicaid recipient to use all their income on their living expenses. So Caitlin, you're the expert. Talk to us about the Teresa Pool Trust and how it can help families.
So the Teresa Pooled Income Trust allows for individuals to take their excess income and put it into that income trust, and that income can be used towards their monthly expenses such as rent, HOA fees, utilities, personal needs that they have. And so it allows them to stay at home and get the care that they need.
So the excess income is the amount that's over what's permitted by Medicaid for the recipient to keep. That's around $900.
Right, so they don't have to spend it
Yeah.
down. They can
Yeah,
actually
but-
get the benefit of it.
Right, because everyone needs all of their income
Of
to be able to
course.
stay at home.
Right.
And actually more.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because if you're paying for other care needs or services,
Yeah.
you need to have the funds.
Right.
So the Teresa Pool Trust helps those families. How does it help the Teresa Foundation?
So when an individual passes away, their funds are retained and a donation is made to the Teresa Foundation so that they can run their programs and help the disabled community in New York.
Yeah. So it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right. So the good goes all the way
Right.
around
Yes,
because
it does.
it helps
That's right.
mom stay at home
Right.
Exactly.
and it allows for charitable work.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Tremendous.
we only have like 15 seconds, which I hate to do to you.
Okay, it's all right,
But
it's
just
all right.
mention your artwork real quickly because I know that's been a part of the way you're
Yes.
being able to keep mom at home.
Absolutely, yes. Well, I do a lot of religious work, but I also do movie stars, landscapes, cityscapes. I do the whole thing. I do a lot of stuff in pastels. I also paint in acrylics and oils, but it's mainly pastels because it's more economical for myself and also more economical for people
So
who
you
are
paint at
buying.
home?
Yes,
And so
studios
you-
at house.
and
at the house.
so,
yes.
and so you're able to raise additional monies and it allows you to
Yes.
continue to keep your mother at home. What a loving
Yeah.
child you are.
Well,
And
I-
your
Great
work.
fun.
I couldn't have asked for a better
Yeah.
mother and father.
Well,
So I mean,
God
they were
bless
my
you.
greatest gift. So.
Yeah.
So I want to thank both of you for being on today, and
you.
and in particular the sponsorship of the Centers
Yes.
for Special Needs Trust Administration, sponsoring Family Comes First. We're going to have more shows this year because
Wonderful. That's
of
right.
your organization. And Nick, just keep doing it. You're a loving
Thank you.
son.
Thank you so much.
Nice
it's
to
a
meet
pleasure
you.
to be here.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to
Yeah.
have both
God
of
bless.
you
That's
here.
right.
God
God
bless.
bless you. Wonderful. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back with Family Comes First.
Hi, I'm Todd Belisle, the president of the Center for Special Needs Trust Administration. At the center, we understand the importance of helping individuals, family members, and loved ones secure independent lifestyles. We are the nation's leading provider in trust administration services with regards to pool trust, community trust, third-party trust, and special needs trusts. The center also offers specific services for Medicare recipients who are receiving settlement proceeds. If you'd like to find out what the center can do for you or your loved one, please contact us today.
Welcome back to Family Comes First. We just heard from Nick Delillo on how he has coped with caring for his mother, and Caitlin Janicki of the advantages of the Pool Trust.
Yep. A lot of information there.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes, though, Vincent, a loved one requires more care than can be provided at home. One such place which provides care is Our Lady of Consolation Nursing and Rehabilitative Care Center in West Islip. Let's take a look.
Our Lady of Consolation has a very good reputation. It's family orientated. It's in the area where I live, and I've always heard very good things about Our Lady of Consolation, and I am proud to say I work here. My duties, I'm a registered nurse. I administer meds. I have contact with the doctors, the families, patient education. We get involved in pretty much everything. We feed the patients, we help out the nursing assistants, we work with recreation therapy. All the different departments, everybody works together.
I'm a recreation therapist. I do programs for the residents, such as baking, trivia, bingo, horse racing, current events. I implement that they enjoy, such as Jeopardy and bowling. We have a bowling league downstairs that they do. So I try to incorporate what they would do if they were home and bring it into their home here.
There's a priority to the day, but basically the day revolves around daily mass at 10:30, and then seeing the new admissions. And then the staff are comfortable enough to make referrals, so I get to see the referrals. And then I walk around. I walk around to all the different communities. The residents here are just, they're the joy of my life. They're just wonderful people to be with. And we all have our moments, Sometimes I can come in cranky, God forbid, but that sometimes happens. So I know that there are different moods the different days. Weather has a traumatic impact on people's lives, but they're just wonderful people to be with.
They're like family. They're like family. They have their own friends. They socialize. Between the residents, the staff, all the different departments, it's like one big family.
The last time I fell, I was sitting at the kitchen on my walker wheeler, and the thing slipped out from under me, and I went down, and everything came up and everything went down. I broke 2 more vertebrae, one in the lower spine, almost to the end, and one in my shoulders. But I've got a very bad backbone. It's all split, it's cracked down. So I saw the x-rays of them, and I said, oh boy, I'm in bad shape. So I said, when I came here, I decided to stay because there's no one at home through the daytime. How do I like living here? I like it. As I said, it's very nice. They're very nice to me, and the aides are all nice. Even the nurses are nice. I pick on them all, and they pick on me. And they're very, very good. Very good.
The patients are great. They're very friendly. We treat them as if they're our own relatives. They always bring a smile to my face. I know we bring a smile to their face. They always look for the current events that are on the board, such as the programs, and they always look forward to what we have to offer them.
They're making cookies, chocolate cookies. Mm-hmm. She made cinnamon rolls the other day, last week, and they were good. I said, I haven't had a cinnamon roll in years.
Father Brian, who currently is the priest here, the residents look forward to going to Mass every week just to see him, and he's wonderful with the families and the residents. The spiritual aspect is very important. The families are very involved. A lot of families do come in on Sundays to take the residents, accompanying them to Mass, and we have volunteers that bring the residents down, and Sunday Mass is one thing that all the residents do look forward to.
I know if they don't have Mass some days, they're disappointed. They do go to the chapel almost every day, most of the residents, and they do enjoy going very much. And Father Brian is very friendly and very involved in their care.
I think the spiritual aspect here is important because it speaks to another era where the residents are coming from. There's really a wonderful connection between the church and the residents because it was so part of their life. And here that's just amplified because it's of that age. And it's a win-win situation for both the residents and myself. I love being a priest, and I love being a priest to the residents. So and they love seeing me. So it's really a very good match.
With us now to tell us her story is Chris Cardinal and Danielle Rank, who are both social workers at Our Lady of Consolation Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. Welcome to you both.
Welcome.
We're so happy
Great.
to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Great to have you. I mean, because in the first segment, we talked about home care services and how to keep mom safe and at home. But the reality as social workers that some of our seniors need a higher level of care.
At some point.
Yeah, yeah. And if they need that level of care, often a nursing facility is the appropriate place. So let's talk about what you do, why you do what you do, and how you better the lives of seniors. So, Chris, you've got your mother-in-law
Yes, my mother-in-law is
residing
there.
there.
For about a year now.
Yeah. Her first name?
Is Rosina.
Rosina. Okay. So, how's that working in the place that your mother-in-law is in? Is that reassuring to you?
Actually, it is.
Yeah.
You know, I can see her every day. She comes down to my office to visit.
That's so nice.
You know, she was.
Checking up on you.
Yeah, she does.
Right.
If she needs anything, you know, yeah, we're right there. So.
And you shared with me that you had your
My
mother-in-law home with you for
18 years.
18 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, God bless you.
Yeah, she helped me a lot when my kids were young.
Yeah, right.
You know, she was a godsend to me, actually. We got along very well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was a very hard transition for us when she decided to stay. It was her decision to stay.
Yeah, and she decided, which is
Yeah.
so interesting, right? And why?
I think part of it was that she could not get out as much as she used to before. She used to have a scooter. She used to go around the neighborhood, and she couldn't do that as much anymore. She couldn't get up and down the stairs without assistance, different things.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, Ruby, she lived with us for about 8 years. And there was a certain amount of isolation, you know, being in our home, and she wasn't ambulatory in a way that she could leave the house. And now she's in a nursing facility in South Carolina, and there's interaction, there's always
community.
something going on for her to go to, and then there's lunch in the cafeteria and interaction. So social work becomes really important in that regard. So Danielle, you do that stuff, don't you?
What's your favorite part of what you do for the patients?
Just being able to meet them and kind of hear their background and their story and where they came from. And like you said, it's very uncommon for the patient themselves to say that they want to stay long term, but some actually do. And trying to help with that transition and having the family understand that maybe this is what is the best interest for their families.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. So sometimes you sense it and the patient senses it.
I've had patients tell their families that they would like to stay.
Yeah, and that must be hard for the families.
Yeah, so we give them support in that way to help them kind of understand where their parent or their loved one is coming from.
Right.
And then on the other hand, I'm sure you see many families where, quite frankly, the nursing home is scary. You know, they've never been in a nursing home. They're not. They hear these horror stories that, you know, and they think that's the way it is in reality. And you know better because you work in a quality facility that's not a horror story for someone to be in a nursing home. So do you get into those conversations, educating the family and getting to feel comfortable?
Yes, I believe, you know, everyone always has their doubts and beliefs of what they've heard from other facilities and things along those lines. But just being available and providing that support and, you know, extending the services and, you know, offering meetings if they need a meeting with the team just to discuss progress and everything that's going on, any questions or concerns that they may have.
Yeah.
I feel that definitely helps ease those doubts that the family members may have.
So
Right,
important.
and seeing the care, you know, and seeing that someone is happy and enjoys the community of a meal or, you know, feels cared for. I think all that probably goes a long way. You know,
Absolutely.
change is scary and the unknown is scary.
Yeah, the
So-
transition is difficult for both.
Yes, right. But once you have more information about it and you actually see what happens, that's why it was so wonderful to see, you know, the video because you actually see inside, and it was it's lovely.
Yeah. Now, your role is a little different than Danielle's. So,
I'm actually the performance improvement director, and
you say that with a smile.
I do. I like my job very much.
That's great.
You know, we look at everything that we do on a continual basis. The team works very well together, all the disciplines. We plan for improved strategies, right now we've for the last couple of years we've been working on managing behavior without medication. We've developed a lot of initiatives not to medicate people and learn other ways of managing behavior.
So-
we work on that every day.
Yeah, so let me ask you a practical question. I'm a child of a parent who I believe is going to need nursing home care. I know nothing about the system. I don't know which nursing home would be appropriate or not appropriate. What could you recommend to me so that I can educate myself better as to choosing the appropriate nursing home?
I think it's important to visit a nursing home on more than one occasion at different times of the day.
Right.
See how available and how open the facility is to giving you a tour when you walk in the door. And there's also, there's a website that compares nursing facilities also.
Okay.
It's Medicare.gov and it's Nursing Home Compare.
Okay.
And you can see some background on their quality measures, their staffing, how they've done on annual Department of Health surveys, what issues they've had. The survey results have to be posted in the facility, so it's an
Okay.
opportunity for you to look at those.
Sure.
And have the facility explain to you, what their issues were and what they did about them.
Yeah. I think your opening there on the ground, you have to go and visit.
Yes, you do.
Take a tour.
Yes, you do.
And better yet, do it before there's a crisis. Like, if
Yes.
so if I know mom or dad's not doing so great, and maybe there's going to be a time, why not do it then? Go out and visit a few nursing homes, ask the questions, so that way if there is a problem later on, you're not in a crisis trying to figure out what to do.
No, because when there's a hospital stay, they give you so many days, and
Right.
and your loved one's going to be discharged, and these are your options. And
Yeah, and Danielle, you were involved, I would think, with the families when someone comes out of rehab after those initial days, whether they could be discharged home or whether they could, or whether they're going to need to stay in extended care.
Right. It's normally a team kind of decision, and
Right.
along with the families, we discuss the progress, their physical limitations and abilities, medical, and the needs that they may need. Sometimes, we do a great amount of discharge home.
Right.
We also do, we do have a few that do stay long term, but it really all depends on the level of care and what really the family could take on.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, that went so quick. Like, I have a lot more questions for Danielle, and now I can't ask them. Another time, you'll have to come back.
There you go.
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing all the information about such an important resource.
So now we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back on Family Comes First.
Joining us now is elder care attorney Frank Bequicchio, Vincent, a partner in your law firm, to discuss with us how families can figure out how to make these choices for mom and dad when it becomes apparent that they either have to come back home but they'll need help or be in a facility.
Right. And he's going to have all the answers.
Of course, always.
And then we have to have Father Tony Staganelli with us, spiritual advisor to many families in the community who are stressing out, trying to deal and cope with caring for a loved one. Welcome. It's great to have both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
So let's start with Frank. And how do you advise the families?
Well, I think the first step is what level of care is going to be needed. That's the most important. So is the parent going to be able to, or spouse, if it's a married couple, going to be able to come home with care, or worst case, need nursing home care? As a planner, I like to obviously plan for the worst and hope for the best. So
good idea.
I would like for the families to be, if it is nursing home, if that's going to be the worst case scenario from a financial standpoint, discuss what those options are, just in case it ends up being that. And if they can come home with help, we'll talk about that as well, of course, being the best case scenario, because of course everybody would like to stay home,
And
longer.
sometimes it's on a spectrum. They could start out at home, but you have to anticipate
Absolutely.
that things could change.
Right, I mean, right,
Yeah.
and depending on the nature of the illness, it may not be getting better, it may be something that progressively worsens, and they do need long-term nursing home care, and this way they're better prepared for it in that situation. And home care, staying home, it's a little bit tricky because Medicaid has very strict rules, and the income piece in particular is problematic.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because Medicaid has very strict rules on how much income you can keep, and if you're over those limits, that becomes a problem. But there are ways.
That's right. We heard about that from Caitlin Janicki and the Teresa Poole Trust.
Exactly.
So
That's right.
let's show a brochure of the Teresa Poole Trust, and this would be a trust that would allow the income to be protected.
Yes.
And allow the loved one to stay at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome.
Works phenomenally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Frank, also, just quickly, what documents, legal documents should be in place for ongoing decision making if mom or dad are incapacitated?
It's going to be critical to have a durable power of attorney and a healthcare proxy.
Okay.
Because if mom or dad or spouse are unable to make, as you said, Vincent, make decisions for themselves, legally there's nobody that can do that for them, especially financial matters. So that's where the power of attorney and the healthcare proxy are very important.
And then, Father, our guests, Nick Delillo, and caring for his mom at home, and Chris with her mother-in-law in a nursing home. Share your insights.
Well, it always seems to me that dealing with the changes that come with advanced age and anticipating those changes can be such an incredibly mental burden. How am I going to handle this? On both sides, both the caregiver as well as the aging parent.
Yes.
And yet, the grace of God is always there. I find in all of these moments when we're anticipating change or trying to stress out making those decisions and realizing that, oh, how can I do this right? But God is there giving us the grace. And that was one of the beautiful things that Nick shared with us as he made the decision to keep his mom at home.
Right.
That he really believed that the grace was there for him to be able to sustain that lifestyle and to do what was necessary to ensure a quality of life for his mom.
Yeah, he had a lot of strength from his faith, I think he said. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nick and Chris are a great example of the love and bond we share with our parents.
Yes, and the resourcefulness to figure out a way to provide for them at home and ultimately, if needed, provide for them in a facility.
Right. There could be a lot of creative options.
Absolutely, absolutely. For a list of some of these resources and options, you can visit Vincent's law firm at vjrussolaw.com.
Always love to help.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks to all our viewers for joining us. And remember, family truly does come first.